Alright guys, so today's video is going to be the ultimate guide for the Doomsday Heist. I was finally able to get the achievement for Criminal Mastermind, and you can make a lot of money if you complete this one, guys. You can make 4.5 million completing this with 4 people, 2.8 million completing with 3 people, and 1.6 million from getting the Criminal Mastermind with 2 people. So you can make millions and millions from just completing these heists with the Criminal Mastermind bonus. If you did enjoy this video, please take a few seconds to leave it a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one, and let's get right into this. So the first tip is, do not play with random players from matchmaking. You're gonna have a bad time. If you need people to play with, try teaming up with other players from the Heist Team's Reddit page or the GT Online Discord group. All you have to do is put a looking for players request in your respective platform, and usually there'll be quite quickly people will partner up with you for this. And to prove to you guys this works, I was actually able to complete Criminal Mastermind several times using only players I met through this Discord group. Next up, trip skips are worth doing on the setups to save time. However, do not do these on the finales or you forfeit your chance at getting the Elitist achievements, and they give extra rewards. You'll get an extra $50,000 per finale that you complete an Elitist achievement on, so that's 150,000 extra GTA dollars that you can get for doing on all 3. Plus it's a pretty cool achievement if you manage to do them on all 3 acts. Next tip is to make sure you complete the prep missions in a solo public lobby. That way you don't have to worry about random players trying to blow up your prep vehicles and equipment when you're transporting it back to your facility. You can die in prep missions and it does not reset your progress of a Criminal Mastermind achievement. It will only reset it if you die in either a setup or a finale. Once you've completed all the prep missions and you're onto the setups, you want to go back into single player and load up an invite only session and invite your crew. The reason for doing this is after completing each setup mission, the game's going to load you back into free roam between each one. So if you're in a public lobby, this is going to take quite a lot of loading times to get everybody back in there. Whereas if you're in an invite only lobby, you're going to be loading back into the game significantly quicker. So this can really cut down your loading times between all the setups. Most of you guys probably know this one already, but to eat snacks instantly, make sure you either aim your gun or take cover against a wall, and that removes the eating animation for snacks and means that you can heal a lot faster with snacks. This has saved my life in so many intense firefight moments. If you're a CEO, teammates will regenerate health if they're close to you, so make sure your team knows this, and especially in firefights, will stick close together with the CEO for the health regeneration. And you'll also get some pretty good RP bonuses for sticking with the CEO. When aiming at enemies, make sure you always push up your reticles slightly and get headshots. Many of the enemies in these heists take an absurd amount of bullets to the chest to kill, so make sure you always try and get headshots. If you're on a turret and want to quickly do a 180 to aim behind you, you can just hold back on your analog stick and then hold the aim button, so L2, and you'll do a very quick 180 spin and be able to aim behind you. Alright, so tip number 10, we're getting on to the mission specific tips here. So this is Act 1, the prep with the ambulance. Instead of going all the way to the city to pick up the ambulance, just call 911 and have the ambulance drive to your facility for you, and you can just hop in there and drive it in. It's a quick way to wrap this one up. For the Akula prep for Act 1, since this prep sends you to 2 different locations, what you want to do is have one player or team go to Fort Zancudo, and the other team, you want them to head into the city, so when the Akula location is identified, it's much quicker to collect. Also, the Fort Zancudo team, make sure you use the lift instead of the stairs, it's much quicker. During the Dead Courier setup, the team collecting the helicopter should take an armoured Kuruma for this mission. This way you can easily shoot out the guards and not worry about being stealthy. And then make your way back to the paramedic team and clear out all of the police outside using the helicopter before you land. The signal intercept setup is a very easy setup to die on unless you follow this step. So when you're approaching the vans, you need to start the hack, and then instantly close your phone and open the interaction menu for snacks. If you get shot, just make sure to munch on those snacks to prevent you from dying, and the hack will still complete even though you don't have your phone open. You can also try driving sideways to the trucks to avoid being shot from the back of them, but just make sure to always have your snacks open, because if you do crash or something happens, you can get shot and killed from the back very easily. The same strategy goes for the boats, so just close the hack on your phone once it starts and open up your snacks menu. And the last tip I have for you guys for Act 1 is the server farm setup. So first of all, completing this one stealthy makes it substantially easier for you to complete. Try to stay together as a team, you don't want to split up on this one, and then you can cover each other while you're hacking. Once the alarm is triggered, the Noose agents will show up once you've completed the third hack, so make sure you move along one side of the building, so you only really need to worry about shooting forwards and to one side, and you can kind of hug that wall all the way to the center point when you need to escape. Moving on to Act 2, during the prep for the Strombergs, since you only need 4 of them, you can save a lot of time by just using an air vehicle to fly over them and see which ones you actually need to steal. This will save you driving all over the city to find that out. You can just quickly fly over them and it'll identify them. Also, when it comes to stealing them, if you do park in front of them, they won't actually stop, they'll just smash through you. The best opportunity is to wait for them to stop at a stoplight, and that way you can just pull out the driver and quickly hop in. Or you can try and get a headshot, but if you miss that headshot, it's going to be add up a bit of time when you have to chase them for it. During the Avenger setup, I found that no matter how many people you have in your team, whether it's 2 or 4, it's better to stick together. As soon as you head in the hangar, you want to sprint for the right hand side. Don't wait for the lights to go off, just sprint over to the right hand side, and that way you can be in cover behind the office structure when the enemies start shooting at you, and it provides a lot of cover, and you can just sort of slowly make your way through the building, taking the enemies out that you can see from that position. If you do have a thermal scope on your heavy sniper, it's going to make this a lot easier. That way you can see enemies even if they're behind cover. During the rescue ULP setup, the water tower team doesn't actually have to stay up on the water tower, especially if you're doing this as a 2-man heist. It's going to get pretty intense up there, even if you do have explosive sniper bullets. So instead of going up to the water tower, call in a weaponized vehicle such as an insurgent pickup custom, and this will be enough to hold off the enemies at the entrance. Just make sure you have your snacks menu open the whole time just in case, and if you don't have an insurgent pickup custom, a Kuruma can also work. It's just a little bit more risky when the buzzards come in and start shooting rockets. The next tip is the last one for Act 2, which is the salvage hard drive setup. You only really need one operator to drive the vehicle, and the driver will also be the one using the water jet on the fire. All the other players should be on the ground taking out enemies. For the last one, we found instead of driving straight in there, taking the right hand path around the building actually helped. We could spray the vehicles over the wall, and that way your ground team can sort of flank around the back, and there is actually a passage to get in around the back from this angle. For the last few salvages, try to use your RCV and position it to protect your team, because the enemies are going to keep spawning in this position, so you can use your vehicle to help give your teammates some cover. Moving on to Act 3, so this tip actually helps for a bunch of the prep missions. Quite a lot of these prep missions, such as the marked cache and the recon, they're going to require you to go to the city, and so it really helps having your teammates in advance head to the city, so that way when the host starts the mission at their facility, you don't have to wait for them to travel all the way into the city to complete them. It can really help cut down the travel time rather than going back and forth from the facility again over and over. For the first setup, when you have to rescue Agent 14, before the Juggernauts spawn, throw down a bunch of C4 at the entrance, and then as soon as the Juggernauts appear, detonate it and it'll help do some damage to them. The minigun is probably one of the best weapons that you can use to take these out. Once you've grabbed Agent 14, it can help if you use a weaponized vehicle such as the Insurgent Pickup Custom, or even better the half-track, since you can't get hit at all when you're in that one. And having this vehicle on hand will really help you clear out a lot of the enemies, especially when the other Juggernauts spawn in. For the second setup, when you have to rescue ULP, I have quite a few tips for this mission. First of all, don't hold down the trigger when you're shooting the missiles at the helicopters. It's going to give you a really long reload between each shot. You only really need one missile to kill each Valkyrie, so all you have to do is just tap it, and that way you won't have that long reload between each one. The second tip is not to let Agent 14 get too far ahead. If he does, he's going to start taking damage, and it can be quite hard to catch up with him once he's getting swarmed, so try to be efficient with your missile firing. If it's locked on and you've fired a missile, feel free to just close it and keep driving straight away. You don't need to sit and watch that missile, you can just trust that it will reach that helicopter eventually. You can save quite a lot of time by doing so. And my third tip for this setup is that if you're in a 4-man, you want to have 2 players go in an Insurgent Pickup Custom, and they can help take out some of the helicopters and ground vehicles. If you're in a 3-man, you can escort it using something like a Vigilante, or maybe even a weaponized Tampa. And if you're doing it with a 2-man, you can have the second player use an explosive sniper to help take out some of those helicopters and ground troops, because it is going to be quite challenging with a 2-man. Moving on to the fourth setup for the Kanjali. You want to take your armoured Kuruma for this one. It's going to help save you when you're shooting these enemies. Have one of your members blow up the vehicles while the other one in the armoured Kuruma drives around and takes out all of the enemies around the tank. During setup number 5, when you have to take out the air defences, for this you can actually just hold the bombing button down and it will drop an unlimited amount of carpet bombs, so that's A for Xbox or X for PlayStation. It can also help speed this setup up by having a good shooter on the turret seat so he can shoot at the SAM turrets, and it'll really help speed this up. Also, having a good pilot will really help this one because you need a slow, smooth flight over these to be actually shoot at them accurately. And that leaves me with my tips for the Act 3 finale. Given the difficulty of this finale, I have quite a few different tips for this one. So first of all, you want to choose the barrage instead of the tank. The host will actually get a 100k cash bonus if you do not use the tank. If you want to play it safe in the tunnel, you can drive backwards in the barrage and have your teammate on the grenade launcher to blow up the enemies on the way down. That way you can just play extremely safe and not get hit. Not to mention this is also faster than taking the tank. Otherwise, if you do have an experienced driver in the barrage, what you can do is just blast through the tunnels and just move around the enemy insurgents, and the driver will also want to be taking out the gunners of these insurgents with an AP pistol or an SMG or something. Once you're approaching the end of the tunnel, you want to stop before the destination marker, or the game can actually force you into the firing range of the juggernauts. So give yourself a chance to get ready for this, hop out before the destination marker, get your miniguns equipped before turning that corner. When you get to the hacking stage, whoever is doing the hacking won't actually be targeted by the NPCs. However, as soon as they do finish their hack, they will, so just be careful when you finish your hacks, you're going to be straight away a target. And the last tip is just a time-saving one for the orbital cannons at the end of the finale. Whoever is on the map first should always go for target C, since that one is the furthest away. So that was my ultimate tips and tricks guide for the Doomsday Heist in GT Online. If you are going to attempt this, feel free to share this video with your teammates so they can all be informed on what they need to do on all of the acts, and they're all aware of some of the choke points and some of the places where you can avoid an easy death. I'll also link the Heist team's Reddit page as well as the GT Online Discord group. If you are looking for players, I'm in that group also, so you'll probably see me posting there sometimes. Don't forget to leave a like on the video if this did help you out, subscribe if you are new, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Flipping cars, I did the scene. Flipping heist, yeah, with the team. You know me, got the antidote. I spit it sick up in Los Santos. Dodging missiles, dodging bullets. Coming at me now, tell me to pull it. I'm a G, DOA, silent core in GTA.